So these are parts of a story that I've cobbled together to fit or to not, so let's see how we go. They say a man's heart is as big as his fist. In Ben's case then, his heart must be the size of a bucket. I met him on the leafy banks of the Yarra, Melbourne's liquid heart. When I got home later, I mentioned nothing about Ben to Ivan, just squeezed a cuddle out of him before heading down for a swim. In the pool, everything liquefies, myself included. In the pool, everything collapses, and I twirl through the water, digging the sound it makes as it percolates through my head. I take pleasure in stretching time and space. I'm infinite when I extend my arm again and again and again. That night I swam for over an hour, watching the navy blue tile floor revolve below me and around me like a marble globe. While outside, the sky darkened above the city and the clouds moved through me, inside and outside the building. It was good to be in the water, with everything mixing together, with all the lines blurred, the tiles and the city rolling past without end, and me thinking of the giant, Ben, with his giant hands, his bucket-sized heart. My body was rubber when I pulled myself out of the pool. Ivan was doing push-ups at the foot of our bed when I walked in. He finished and looked at me, chest and face, flamingo pink. I smiled and said, "Have you always been this sexy?" "Don't tell me you're only just now working that out," he said. There's something that separates us, and it's not just the jokes or the length of the hall or even where I end and he begins. Sometimes I'll be inside him or him inside me. We'll be fucking, and I'll realize I'm alone. I sat in front of the TV with the sound turned down. Ivan was in bed. Watching porn in darkness is like moving through water. Time stretches and nearly slows to a stop. My right fist becomes the universe. Boundaries blur. I'm interested only in the beginning of the encounter, the first flicker of possibility when one man begins to lean his head towards another. I watched the men on screen as they caught each other's eye. I rocked my cock in my fist while I worked the remote, rewinding, pausing, replaying in my mind that moment earlier in the day when I first caught sight of Ben, sprawled across the bluestone promenade on the water's edge, his long legs stretched out, the river at his back. In the morning, Ivan woke me. He grinned, nodding toward my right arm, which was still shoved down inside my track pants, and asked, "How are you going there?" I said, "I could use a hand." Ivan said, "I reckon you've got everything firmly in hand, mate." The rain that morning was heavy. It darkened the apartment, the sky, and the rest of the world. And since I never liked working in other people's gardens in this kind of rain, I rescheduled all my work and rang Ben. Later, I stood next to him while he watched me, cigarette between his thumb and forefinger. The smoke hung in the air far above my head. I watched it circle and storm like the clouds, then saw the big fella begin to lean his face towards mine. I looked at his thick lips, breathed in rainfall, jasmine, cigarette smoke, sleep and sweat, saw him flick his cigarette off the balcony, saw his lips opening, the tip of his tongue, and I wished just then that I could pause, rewind, replay, and pause,